What a mess this has been. Nancy Pelosi's trip to Taiwan has been a giant strategic blunder. Now, this isn't just me saying this. This is the Washington Post this morning and the New York Times, two periodicals that support Pelosi almost all the time and essentially serve as mouthpieces for the DC establishment. So it's quite interesting to see what's going on here. Let me uh, just show you the headline of the Washington Post this morning. It's the editorial headline, their lead editorial by the editorial board. The damage from Pelosi's unwise Taiwan visit must be contained. Um, in the New York Times as this article, Pelosi's Taiwan visit risks undermining U.S. efforts with Asian allies. So, on one hand, that New York Times article, it's a reporter interviewing various officials, and creating a narrative that is distancing the Biden administration from Pelosi's trip. They're saying that she made the decision on her own, that the Biden administration cautioned her not to do it. It does say that the Biden administration made a mistake in that they made a statement a couple of days ago publicly saying that the Pentagon and the Defense Department advised not to take the trip. And the article says that he shouldn't have revealed that because that put the Chinese into a position in which they would have to react. And also, if Pelosi did not take the trip, then she is losing face. It's claiming that this all should have been handled in private discussions, and Pelosi should have agreed with the Biden administration not to go. That's the narrative they're putting out. And but whether that's true or not, it by reporting it, it distances the Biden administration from it. And the news article in the Times says it was a strategic mistake because what happened, according to the article, was that the Australians, the Japanese, the South Koreans, the Vietnamese, the kind of the Philippines, all these countries that do have concerns about the growth of China were not advised about the trip before it took place. And so, in effect, this crisis was created without consulting the allies in the region that have concerns about China. And it's put everyone in a tough situation. And China has responded by doing these maneuvers close to the coast of Taiwan. There's a map I saw also in yesterday's New York Times showing that they are basically surrounding the coastline of Taiwan, except leaving two small areas that boats can come in and out of. So they've taken, it's essentially almost a 90% blockade of the entire island. It's a huge display of military might and military force by the Chinese government. It's not going to be a violent display, but it is certainly a power display by China, and it does not look good at all. I mean, from the standpoint of Taiwan in what's going on in the region. So it does seem to have been a mistake. In the Washington Post, you saw the headline. They're saying it's a mistake, so that's a big deal. I mean, when it's just a giant strategic blunder. Now, what the Times says would be notes is that over the past year, the Biden administration has made deals that have um, uh, been against China's interests. I'll put it that way. They've done submarine deals with Australia, in which there's a new massive U.S. Nuclear-powered submarine program to create a fleet of attack vessels, first-generation attack vessels, some of which will be built and given to Australia. They're going to pay for them. There's also a whole new fleet of nuclear missile U.S. submarines that are going to be constructed in the next couple of decades. These are weapons. They help create a naval weapons race in the region that wasn't there before, which will increase tensions. But as I pointed out in the last video I did about this topic, the Biden administration said last year in statements by a couple of the National Security Advisor, Secretary of State, that they actually want increased tensions with China to help keep these type of programs going or increase them. And sort of like in the United States with domestic politics, the China issue unites both parties together into voting for the defense budget and other programs that could be framed as positioning, in defense against China, much as the same thing happened with the Soviet Union and the Cold War. And I'm sure in China, the premier there has reasons to, at times, want increased tensions. He has a vote for himself, the Premier Xi, in the fall of his next term as premier. So these, there is a need in international politics at times for the power blocks to increase tensions, create incidences. It helps get domestic support in these dynamics. But in this case, the Pelosi trip is a strategic blunder. It's not. It's angering the allies. It's working. It's showing that, making it appear at least that China in this instance, has the upper hand. Pelosi's the one that's going to leave. She comes and leaves, creates an incident. It's not good. That's not what we want American officials to be doing. So it is a wild week. This news will come and go. I'm sure something else will dominate the news cycle by the end of the weekend or next week. But definitely a strategic blunder. Now, to get my next video update, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell next to it, and I'll send you, or YouTube will send you an alert as soon as it's up.